My fiancé decided he was a trophy because he is handsome and told me that I should pay for our whole wedding. He was shocked when I made him single. When Ryan proposed after 3 years together, I thought we were on the same page about everything. We both worked decent jobs, him at an engineering firm and me as a pharmacy manager. We split rent, took turns paying for dates, and had a joint savings account for our future wedding. The ring wasn't huge, but it was perfect, and we planned a simple wedding for next fall. Everything was normal and equal until Ryan's college roommate, Trevor, got married to a surgeon who made 4 times his salary. Suddenly, Ryan was obsessed with their dynamic. Trevor hadn't worked in 6 months, spent his days golfing and gaming while his wife handled everything financially. Trevor called himself a trophy husband and bragged about how his good looks and charm were his contribution to the marriage. Ryan started making jokes about wanting that life. At first I laughed it off, but then the jokes stopped being funny. Ryan started pointing out that he was better looking than me, that women hit on him constantly, that I was lucky he chose me. He'd say it with a smile, but his eyes were serious. He started forgetting his wallet on dates, saying I should be happy to pay for the privilege of his company. When rent was due, he'd transfer less than half, saying his presence in the apartment was worth more than money. He actually used the word presence like he was some kind of celebrity. The breaking point came when we met with the wedding planner. She asked about our budget, and Ryan said I'd be handling all wedding expenses since marrying him was the real gift. The planner looked confused and asked if he was joking. Ryan explained that men who looked like him, had his degree, and came from good families were rare. He said I was getting the better deal by far, so covering the wedding was the least I could do. He said his contribution was letting me take his last name and giving me attractive children someday. The planner stared at him, then looked at me with pity. I was too shocked to respond. That night, Ryan presented me with what he called a relationship restructuring proposal. It was an actual printed document outlining how our marriage would work. I would pay all bills, mortgage, utilities, groceries, and vacations. He would maintain his physique, be available for social events, and provide companionship. He'd budgeted $1,500 a month for his gym membership, supplements, and grooming because maintaining his looks was a full-time job. He wanted to spend money for golf and boys' trips. He actually allocated himself a clothing budget because he said a prize needed proper packaging. At the bottom, he'd calculated that his physical attractiveness and social status were worth at least $200,000 a year, so really, I was getting a bargain. When I asked if this was a joke, he said successful women everywhere were looking for men like him, and I should be grateful he was willing to commit to just me. He said his mother had raised him to know his worth and not settle for less than total appreciation. He brought up his friend Derek, whose girlfriend bought him a BMW just for being exclusive with her. He mentioned his cousin Lucas, whose wife paid him a monthly allowance. He said this was the future of relationships, and I needed to get on board or get left behind. I told him I needed time to think. He gave me a week to accept what he called the gift of his permanent companionship. That's when I called his mother, Olivia, to tell her the wedding was probably off. I figured she'd want to know why. Olivia listened to everything, then asked me to forward Ryan's proposal document. She read it in silence, then said she'd handle this.